going on, buddy? It's nice to
What's
meet
up?
you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Nice to talk to you in person.
Yeah, man. I've been a fan of your show for quite a while now.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Well, I first discovered you through Ace Von Johnson when you had Ace Von Johnson on your show.
Oh, Aces, you've had him too. You've had him a couple of times.
Yeah, I've had him on twice.
Yeah. Well, you got me by one. I've had him once, but he's great. Ace is one of my favorites.
Yeah, dude. He's so fun to chat to.
Yeah, yeah, and super nice guy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So what's been going on, dude? Like, what's been happening in your world today?
Today, well, like we were talking a little bit ago, I just walked in the door with 1 minute to spare to get on here with you. It's been busy. I work part-time. I have 2 jobs that I do. So I have a daytime job, and then I work part-time at a retro store. It's called Retroactive. And we sell like t-shirts, band shirts, all retro stuff, 80s, 70s. And I worked there and then came right here, but I made it.
Oh, nice. Do you guys have like a website for that?
shopretroactive.com.
Awesome. I have to go and check it out. I'm a big fan of band t-shirts. I love collecting band shirts.
You have a bunch of them?
Dude, there's never enough.
Yeah, I have all my band shirts from when I was a kid going to the concerts. A lot of them don't fit me, but some of them do. So I was gonna actually bring out my Poison Look What the Cat Dragged In tonight, but it's got a hole in the seam up here, so I got to sew that first.
It's always good to keep those type of things, man. It's memories. It's the same with concert tickets.
Yep. Yeah, I have all my ticket stubs. I back in the day, you didn't think about why you would want to keep that stuff, but I'm glad I did. And now I have it all, and I look back at it, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, same. Me too. I have a box up where I am, up next to my wardrobe, and it's just full with band tour T-shirts from Death Angel, Cheap Trick, Kiss, Motley Crue.
What do you have a favorite?
Oh, do I have a favorite? Maybe when I saw Kiss and when Kiss and Motley Crue toured together.
What tour was that? That was early, right?
Yeah, I think that was it would have been, or maybe 2012, I think it was. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it was a little bit later.
Yeah, it was something like that. And yeah, I only saw Kiss once because, like, I don't know, man. Paul Stanley's voice isn't the same anymore. And I get it. He's getting to that age now.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like, just stop.
Yeah. I mean, they get older, so I don't think we can expect them to sound the same.
Yeah, that's true. How about yourself?
Kind of the way I look at it. I mean, everybody gets older. It's hard, especially if you've sang your whole life like that. It's got to be difficult now.
Yeah. How about yourself? Do you have a favorite band T-shirt?
Probably the Poison one I was going to wear today. Yeah, I remember that because I remember that one. It was Poison on Look What the Cat Dragged In, opening for Rat. Rat was on their Dancing Undercover tour, and I remember getting that shirt and wearing it to school. And people making fun of me because of that shirt, because it had the album cover on it where they look like women, and they weren't really known yet. So people were like, why are you wearing that? So that's probably my favorite.
Yeah. I used to listen to Poison back in the day, man. And my dad got me a big ass poster of the band, had it up on my wall, and mum would be like, what do you have a women on your wall for?
Yeah.
That's dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, they did look like women on that first album though. But
yeah,
that was the thing back then though.
Oh yeah. It kind of still is, I think, but I don't know, man.
With bands?
Looking like women? Yeah, I think so.
Like
maybe.
who?
I'm not too sure. I was gonna say Lexi Steel from Steel Panther.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so dude, you played in a few bands, correct?
I did. I have.
Yeah. So I actually wrote some notes down for once. Normally I don't like to write notes down because I like to like have a freestyle conversation and stuff like that.
I'm the same
But
way.
yeah, so like in '92 you had a band called Peppermint Skydiver.
I did. Yes, that was probably my first band that actually did some stuff.
And you guys broke up in 2020?
No, we broke up in the 90s. The story with that band was, we had signed a small little independent deal with a label out of Michigan. We were in Florida at the time. So we went up to Michigan, played a show, and then signed with that label. And then they put us in the studio down in Florida. But while we were in the middle of making that record, they pulled out. They went bankrupt. So we got the record made, but we didn't have any resources to put it out. So we had it. And then in 2020, I decided to have it remastered and then re-put out. So it would finally see the light of day. Yeah. So that's what we did with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you still talk to the band members now from that band?
I do, because just yesterday, as a matter of fact, I was listening to it because it came up on my Amazon Music for some reason. And I was like, oh, that's my record. I want to hear it. So I clicked on, I was listening to it. So I sent the guitar player a message. I said, hey, man, just listen to this. We put out some good music back then, let's catch up. So we're going to catch up. I haven't talked to him in probably, I don't know, 4 years or so.
Oh, wow.
So we just reconnected yesterday.
Oh, that's cool. Brings back memories.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fun times, I mean, like I said, it was the first band that actually put something out and started to do something.
Yeah. What was your first show like performing in that band?
The first show with that band?
Yeah.
I don't even remember, but knowing me back then, I was probably stood there like a tree on stage. I don't remember. It took me a little bit to loosen up, though, as I got a little older and more experienced.
Yeah, well, especially if it's like your first time being up on stage in front of hundreds of people or whatever.
Or 10.
I would be scared. Yeah. Well, like I'll be doing the same thing too, man. My anxiety would go through the roof.
Yeah. Well, you play, right?
I do, yeah, just for fun.
Okay.
Just for fun. I've got offered to audition a band. I think it was last year. It was like a 80s and 90s like cover band. They're doing like, old like 80s and 90s rock and pop music and stuff. And I told them I'll think about it. And then I just, because, I'm a part-time chef. So obviously I work weekends with gigs. They play weekends. So it's pretty hard to take weekends off in the hospitality industry because it's normally our busiest time on that week. So just like I can't do it. I'm too committed to my work. But then I kind of like back to it now and so maybe I should audition.
Well, I mean, it's never too late to get into something.
Yeah, I always like to collaborate with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, even just like on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, and just release it and stuff like that and just do like cover songs.
Yeah, that's fun. That's great. I love playing cover songs.
Oh yeah, same. Do you have a favorite
cover song?
Yeah.
No, I don't have a favorite cover song, but just recently, probably about maybe it was March, the M3 Festival. I don't know if you're familiar with that they have it up in Maryland. But my buddy Pete has an acoustic rock show, and he asked if I wanted to play some bass. I have an acoustic bass right back there, and
that's nice.
So I was like, sure. And he sent me this list of like, 35 songs or something to learn. and it was like 4 days away, the show.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got them. I crammed it in. I learned the songs and went up there, and we had a blast playing these cover songs. We played stuff like, Poison, Duran Duran, Van Halen, just all across the board songs.
Yeah.
It was great. Love playing cover songs.
Awesome. Yeah. Cover bands are always fun to watch.
Yeah. If they're good.
Yeah, well, that's true. I've seen the Van Halen Jump cover band pop up on my Facebook feed all the time and on Instagram as well. So I was sussing them out, and they actually sound pretty good.
Do you get a lot of cover bands where you are?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. So yeah, at a RSL club where I work, 2 weeks ago we had the Cold Chisel Jimmy Barnes tribute cover band.
For who?
And for Cold Chisel, they're an Australian rock band.
Okay.
Fronted by Jimmy Barnes, who is
okay.
Australian icon. I don't like his music, but yeah. But I think the most famous ones would have to be it's either the AC/DC one. I think they're from Melbourne, and Kiss, the Kiss Melbourne.
Is the AC/DC one called Bond but Not Forgotten by chance?
I think so. Because I'm pretty sure there's multiple AC/DC cover band ones. We'll quickly
Okay.
AC/DC.
Because the reason I asked, because some friends of mine in the Midnight Devils were just in Australia touring with Bond but Not Forgotten. That's the band I was telling you about to try and get out to see.
Yes. Yeah, because they played at a pub called the Oaks Hotel, and it's not that far where my mum lives. And there's one called Dirty Deeds.
Okay.
The AC/DC show.
Yeah, there's a lot of AC/DC cover bands. We get a lot of cover bands where I live. I'm over here on the East Coast of the United States in South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So we get a lot of cover bands come through the House of Blues here, like all the time.
Yeah. Oh, nice. What's the most popular one?
I haven't been to any of the shows, but they're all pretty packed from what I hear.
Well, that's always a good thing.
Like the cover bands do better than original bands around here.
A lot of people would say that.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they would say the cover band from the lead singer from the cover band should replace the lead singer from the original band.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Yeah. So, in 2004, you played for No Fraud, correct?
No, in 2004, I played. No Fraud is involved in that, but I played in a band called Last Great Hope, which had 2 members from No Fraud in there.
Okay.
So No Fraud. How did that band, that was a fun band. We were like a pop punk band, I guess, like kind of like a Green Day. We were, we did 3 of the Vans Warped Tours. So we always got lumped into with those kind of bands, like the My Chemical Romances and, the Fall Out Boys, those kind of bands at the time.
Yeah.
So we did that. We did a tour with the Dead Kennedys. We put 2 records out. They're both out on Spotify and Amazon or wherever you listen to music. And we did that for a while. It was pretty successful. And then that band ended when I moved to California. And then that's when that band ended.
Okay. So you play pretty much in punk bands.
Well, Peppermint Skydiver was more of a rock band. What's that?
Yeah.
What?
Oh no, I was just saying that you've been playing in punk bands.
Punk bands?
Yeah. So
like Peppermint Skydiver was just a rock band. I mean, we got compared a lot to Candlebox. That was the early 90s, mid 90s. So it was that whole scene there. Last Great Hope was like the pop punk band. And then Actually, I've been kind of in all different genres, but mainly rock stuff. You know, I did while I was in Last Great Hope, I did a project called Big Machine. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but we did it. That was put together by Brian Johnson from AC/DC. So
Okay.
we sounded a lot like AC/DC because he wrote the songs with us.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, and that was really fun. That only lasted about a year, though.
Yeah.
That was a project. You know, he put it together. The guitar player and him were friends. They asked me to play bass. Then we got our other buddy to play guitar that eventually joined Last Great Hope. And then the singer we all mutually knew too. And then we formed Big Machine with that. There's nothing out there that you can hear on that. We just did some demos. We went up to New York, played CBGBs, and showcased for some record labels. And there was some talks back and forth, but nothing ever got signed. And then that was it with the project.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, that was a fun project, you know, with Brian from AC/DC, seeing him he would come to rehearsals, you know, and you're playing these songs and he's just watching, listening. And then he'd get up and he'd stand there and pump his fist like, you know, like you see him, he does on AC/DC stage.
Yeah, yeah. How nervous would you be like when you see him there, just standing there watching you guys, like, you know, singing the stuff that he written for you or whatever it is?
You know what? I wasn't nervous at that time. I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
I mean, there was times where you're playing because he'd play Back in Black with us and Dirty Deeds, you know, at
That's
shows.
awesome.
He would come out to the shows and we'd do these songs with him. So
Yeah.
being on stage and seeing him singing these songs and I'm playing Back in Black, I'm like, you think to yourself, you're like, how in the hell did I get in this situation? You know, why am I here right now? So, so it wasn't really nerves. It was just like, is this really happening type of thing.
Yeah. So who were your influences growing up?
When I was young, it was Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue was probably he was my go-to guy. Because I remember when I saw Motley, this was probably what got me into music, really heavy into music. I saw the Looks That Kill video. And I was like, I was already familiar with Kiss. I had a couple Kiss records. And then I saw Motley. And I was like, what is this? And that's kind of what, you know, put me over the edge to start playing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me it was Alice Cooper and Kiss.
The theatrics.
Yep. Yeah.
That'll get you every time.
Yeah, exactly right. And I was still young then, and I always looked up to Kiss as superheroes for me. Everybody else was like, you know, Batman and Superman and the Hulk and all that shit. And here I was just like, you know, thinking that, oh, you know, yeah, this Alice Cooper guy, man, he's like the coolest super ever. And they're like, who the fuck's that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, who was your favorite Kiss? Mine was Ace.
That's the reason why I played guitar and picked up the guitar was Ace.
Yeah. Yeah. He was the
coolest. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Gene was cool too, but there was something about Ace.
Yeah. I don't know if it was because of his humor or something like that. But like, even when he's like off his face live or something like that, he could still play very well.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. But yeah. So so how did you get into the whole podcast thing? And how did the Rock and Roll Coffee Show started?
That actually goes way back to probably the origins, probably in 1998 for this.
Yeah.
At the time I was living in Florida, I wasn't playing in any bands. This was after the Peppermint Skydiver days, but before Last Great Hope days.
Yeah.
I was going to school for graphic design, and then I got into web design. So I felt the need to have some kind of community for the local bands in the Tampa Bay area. So I started this website called CoffeeStain.com. And it was basically just like I don't know, kind of like a MySpace before MySpace, except you couldn't message people directly. You listed their email, so you could email other bands. I was trying to get bands to network with each other, for shows and all that kind of thing. And then that grew from just a local thing to more a national thing. So bands from all over the United States started emailing, hey, can we get on your site? Blah, 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 blah. And then that built up to publicists contacting me, and then I started doing interviews, and then I started having had drummers do drum tutorials and bass tutorials, and have all this stuff on there. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger. So then I decided to do a radio show. I called it CoffeeStain Radio. And it was kind of like a streaming service through, I think it was Real Audio. I don't know if you remember Real Audio.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So that's how you listen to it, was through that. And we would have bands come into our little studio we made in the garage, me and my roommate. And we'd interview them right there, and then we'd post it. So fast forward to 99, early 2020, right before the pandemic hit, I got a hold of my co-host that was on CoffeeStain Radio back in the day. I said, hey, why don't we do it? Why don't we do it CoffeeStain Radio, but do it on a podcast? And he's like, all right, cool, let's do it. And then I kind of like to keep the coffee theme going. So I was like, we'll call it the Rock and Roll and Coffee Show. It used to be called CoffeeStain Radio. Now we'll call it the Rock and Roll and Coffee Show. So we did. Yeah. And that's how we got into that. And then my co-host, he was doing it with me for a while, but his anxiety got to him and he couldn't do it anymore. So because it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy to talk to people just like on a podcast. It's difficult sometimes.
Because you don't know the person. That's the thing.
Right. And you don't know what you're going to get. That gets me every time. But that's how I got started in podcasting. And then he stopped doing it. And I went on my own and just did it by myself. And I'll tell you, the first time I did it by myself, I was all nervous, because there's nobody to back you up when you're by yourself. That's it. If you are at a loss for words, there's nobody to step in and fill that space.
Yep. You're on your own.
Yeah.
There's no
very nerve-wracking.
Yeah. See, with me, so before I started this, I was doing a podcast with a friend of mine that I met through Ryan Roxy's live stream during the pandemic a few years ago. And he kept popping up on the comments, and goes, oh, make sure you subscribe to my podcast, Pink Sock. And I'm like, oh, we're in lockdown. I got nothing else to do. I'll check out this Pink Sock guy out. And it was something different. I'm like, I reached out to him, like, dude, keep up the good work, and I'm here to support you. Then it's just like, oh, would you like to become a guest? Like, would you like to be a guest on the show? Because we never had an Australian guy on our show before, and we'd like to have you on. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm doing nothing. And then, because we're in lockdown. And so I was a guest on his show. And then after that, the week after, oh, do you want to come back on and like hang out with us? I'm like, yeah, sure. So it just kept on going and going and going. And I kind of like, because I was a shy kid when I was young. That awkward shy kid, and being on his show actually helped me he helped me come out of my shell. And then it kept going and going. And then I think a year after, his co-host couldn't do it anymore because he's moving to a different state. So he asked me if I wanted to become a co-host. I'm like, yeah, the time difference is going to be rough, but I'll do it. And so I was doing that for like maybe 3.5 years, 4 years, until I decided to do my own. So there you go. Actually,
doing it for a while.
Yeah, that's some things that people don't really know. So it's actually helped me a lot with going out on my own and just like chatting to people that I've never met in person, like yourself and like Ace and others and stuff like that. But it's been almost a year now. I think be a year in October. So it's been a fun ride, man.
Do you get nervous when you talk to your guests beforehand?
A little bit. But because I've been to so many meet and greets, and you kind of learn from that nervousness as well. So I kind of see this as sort of like a meet and greet, but you're not paying for like $800 for it.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? But I remember, I think it was my first guest was supposed to come on my podcast, and then he couldn't make it. He got the time mixed up, the date mixed up. I'm like, oh shit, we got like 10 minutes before we go live. He goes, oh look, I can't make it, blah 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 blah. So last minute, I messaged my mate Mike that I did Pink Sock with. I'm like, dude, this is a last minute thing. You could say no, but do you want to be my first guest on the podcast? He goes, yeah, sure. So he came on and saved it for me.
Your first guest couldn't make it. That had to be terrible.
I was sort of nervous, but I made it work.
Yeah. So I've never gone live with it. You like going live?
I don't mind, because like you're interacting with people who's watching it in the chat. Because sometimes I do these live, but normally when I do these live, I have it live on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So people can actually watch it from Facebook, and then, if they like what they see, they can, go on YouTube and like and subscribe and stuff like that. I just think it's a good way of putting yourself out there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing yours live, or just keep it
not so much? I mean, it's crossed my mind before, but I kind of like recording it. And then when I first started, I didn't edit anything. I just let it go, and that's whatever came out. That's what it was. Now, I'm more experienced. I'm more experienced. I'll cut out some of the ums and those kind of things where it's just dead air or something. I'll trim that out, and it seems to be a little better.
Yeah. That's I'm a bit like that as well. Sometimes once it's recorded, I send it out. I don't like to go back and then listen to the shit that we talked for like an hour or anything like that. I just like to post it up, put the description, share it, and that's it. If anyone likes it, cool. If anyone doesn't like it, cool.
Yeah. It takes a while to edit. Editing takes a while.
Yeah. Like I've been on a guest of one of my good friends' podcast too, from the States. He has a channel called the MGC Connection, and he has this. He does a show called Screenshots. It's like a drinking game movie podcast game, and where their friends go and watch a movie, then they go back and they review it, and they each person write down 5 like words or phrases or whatever, and whoever, it's sort of like beer pong or something like that.
Okay.
So if somebody says one of your words, you got to take a shot. So we did Halloween Ends, the last Halloween movie that came out.
Yeah.
And so he asked me to come on, and so I did it, but like mid through like the recording, my connection keeps cutting out, and shit, and I keep freezing, and then like I got like super nervous, like my palms are sweaty. I'm just like, oh shit, what do I do? And stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's happened live on here as well a few times too. Like there'll be some times where I have to cut it short and do like a part 2 a week later, because like it's either my or the other person's connection, like it will just like keep freezing in between. And you're seeing that live button flash, and there you are trying to like fix the problem, and then you're like getting all freaking sweaty and nervous, and like, what do you do?
Yeah. No, I like to record it and just go that route. I have had, I always tell the guests too, if we're talking about something, because a lot of times, mine's kind of unscripted, like you were saying earlier, where I don't have a list of questions or anything. Sometimes I'll have a couple bullet points where some things I do want to get into, just to remind me.
Yeah.
But, sometimes the conversations get into things where later on the guest's like, you know what? I probably don't want that out there. So it's happened like twice where I had to go back and actually cut a part of our conversation out so it didn't go out.
Yeah. That's why like I ask if there's anything that you don't want to talk about before we go live or whatever, because I know most musicians or whatever will get asked the same shit all the time. I had Eric 13, and you've heard of Eric 13. He played for
I saw him on your podcast.
Yeah. So I've been following Eric for quite a while, and we've just been like social media friends for like maybe 3 years or something. And when I had him on my podcast a few weeks ago or whatever it was, he said to me, he goes, just before we hit that button, the record button, just can we like skip the Combi Crust stuff? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm just like, I just get too many questions about that.
Yeah. Another thing though, that one of my guests told me once, because I told him, I apologize for asking him the question that he gets asked all the time. And you know what he said to me? And this is what I tell my guests now too. He said, yeah, I have spoke about this a lot, but your listeners may not have heard this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's true. Especially for the new people as well.
Yeah, I mean, because when you're talking to, a lot of the people you have on the podcast, they jump around a podcast when they're doing press. So they're going to get asked a lot of the same questions, but I think they understand that. I mean, they can't escape their history, or stuff like that, where it's just a conversation question you're going to ask somebody, about a little bit about their past sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And when I had Eric, when we went live, I did ask them some Combi Crust stuff because they were just releasing a new album then, and we just talked about it a little bit. And then he started at a Ramones cover band called the Pinheads, so we were just spent the last 45 minutes talking about that, and how he got into music and playing guitar, and that's it. And it went sweet. Yeah. So how long have you been playing bass?
Probably seriously since 14, maybe since I was about 14. My dad had brought home a bass guitar, I remember, when I was around 10, and it sat under my bed, so he got rid of it. I remember it was a Fender. I don't remember what model it was, but I wish I would have picked it up then, but I guess I just wasn't ready, So when I was around 14, my best friend as a kid, he had a brother that played in a band, and we would go to their warehouse and watch them practice all the time. So that's kind of how I got into it. We just decided to start our own band, my friend and I. And then from there, just once you get hooked into music and playing an instrument, I think it's just in your blood. There's no stopping.
Yeah. Do you
know.
remember your first? Yeah, man. I started. I think I picked it up around about 12 or something like that. I know it's either my mom or my dad bought me a little small nylon acoustic, but I think my brother pinched it and then started strumming it himself, and was like, well,
Yeah.
The bloody, it's always the oldest siblings. But for me, I think it was around about 12 or something. Did you go to 12 years old? Yeah, when I started decided to pick it up.
That seems like that's about an average age.
Yes. Majority of guitar players that I've met in person or like either on Instagram and stuff like that follow me and shit, they mainly say like around 11 or 12. Unless if you're like gifted with, magical talents that you could pick up an instrument at like freaking 5 years old.
Yeah, that's not me.
No, me either. Yeah. So were you self-taught? Or did you go to lessons or anything like that?
No, I never had a lessons, all self-taught and learned by ear.
Yeah, best way to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I learned by learning other people's songs, like Def Leppard and stuff like that. And it took a while, I remember, to finally learn my own song.
Yeah.
But when I did, once you figure out and can do it, then everything started coming easier. You can hear the notes, you can hear what's going on. And now I don't even have to have my bass in my hands. I can just hear the song, come home, grab my bass, and within a couple seconds be where I need to be on the guitar, to play that song.
Yeah. So. Do you read online tabs?
Sometimes.
Yeah. It's 50-50 with me. I'm like you. I only went to lessons once, but now I can just like learn by ear and stuff. But if it's like something that's like really hard to play, then I'll try and search for the tabs for it. But like sometimes the tabs aren't accurate.
Yeah. Well, I find that a lot of times they aren't accurate. But if there is a difficult part to play and I do look up a tab or something, that can kind of get you in the ballpark of what's going on. And then you can kind of fix it from there, I think.
Yeah. So if you're like learning other people's songs and when you're playing different bands, so you must have like a good ear and like like what to play.
For the most part, I think so.
Yeah, that's a good skill, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ace really was self-taught.
Ace
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of musicians are. You wouldn't think, but I don't know how true it is, but I heard George Lynch doesn't read music or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
That dude's like a legend.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same with metal players as well. There's not many metal guitarists, go to lessons to learn theory. I don't think James Hetfield learned theory.
Yeah. Nowadays though, I wouldn't mind learning some stuff because I think it would make me a better player.
Yeah.
Because there's times, like I don't like to just go jam, like just like a jam band, because I don't know all that stuff. You know what I mean? I can play what I think sounds good, but there might be a couple of bad notes in there sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's okay, man. That's okay. So let's get into like horror movies. So are you a horror movie person?
I do like horror movies. I can't say I'm a huge fan anymore because I don't get a lot of time to watch horror movies. But I like the horror movie genres.
Yeah. Do you remember your first horror movie?
Well, the earliest memory I have was of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the reason I remember this, what's that?
Everybody said that to me. And I was like, maybe because I'm younger than you guys, but like.
Oh, really? No, what happened with that? I remember it was back in the day where we didn't own a VCR player or anything like that, or they had big picture discs back then too. I don't know if they were picture discs, but you know what I mean? Laser discs. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And we would have to go to the local grocery store and rent the player and rent the movies. So my dad rented Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. And then he watched it when I went to bed, but he did not. I was laying on the floor with a pillow and a blanket. He thought I was sleeping, but I was watching through the blanket, watching the movie. I do remember that. Yeah. So that was probably my earliest, horror movie chance to check it out.
Yeah, that's cool, and I like that too. Go to bed, son. Yes, Dad. Yeah. You just laying there in the blanket, just like.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, mine was Scream.
Scream? Okay. The first one was a good one.
That was a good one. Yeah, I remember back where they had video stores, and on the weekend I had like the new releases, and mum and dad would always go there, and we would go just to like pick out movies to rent and to watch as a family. And then but so I don't know how I got into horror when I was a kid. I'm just gonna blame Kiss and Alice Cooper for their theatrics. It's like that is exactly like that. To me, like watching Alice's show is sort of like watching a horror movie anyway, But yeah, I remember going to the video store with my mom and dad, and then mom's like, and I think I was like 12 years old at the time when it was out, and yeah, we walked past it. I'm like, mom's like, oh, what movie did you want to get? And I'm just like,
did she let you get it?
Yeah, because I couldn't get it because I was underage.
Yeah,
I think then it was like MA 15 plus, so you had to be 15 years and older or have a guardian to say that you can watch it. So that pretty much got introduced me into horror. But like I sort of knew like what Freddy Krueger and Jason was, but like it didn't really caught my eye with all that. But like Scream was a game changer when I was younger.
Did you how many Screams are there?
There'll be a 7th one coming out maybe next year, I think.
Oh my Lord. 7. Do you like them all or no?
I thought the 3rd one was a bit cheesy because I like how they went through a slasher, like a full slasher movie, and then the second one had a bit of like a slasher / comedic style to it, and then like the 3rd one is just like, what is this? Scream 4 was the same as well. That was a bit of a disappointment. But I remember when Scream 5 came out, I took my sister and my mum to the theaters to see Scream 5.
Did they like it?
And my mum's like, my sister was kind of cool with it. My sister doesn't mind watching horror. She's into like the psychological horror stuff like I am. But mum's like, why did you take me to see this? I'm like, well, you got me into it.
Yeah.
I'm just returning the favor, mom, because I love you. Like,
what's your favorite type of horror movie? You were saying psychological ones, but I mean,
yeah. So at the moment, more of the psychological stuff. So probably like one of my favorite psychological horror movies would have to be either Get Out.
I don't know that one.
You haven't heard that? You haven't?
No, I don't think so.
Not sure. It's actually a really good movie. Jordan Peele directed it. Get Out, and I would say Dr. Sleep was part of like a psychological horror. That's like the sequel to the Scream.
Yeah, Stephen King, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But as far for new horror movies, it's hard to keep up with them now. Like with you, I try to watch like I'm a movie person. I'll try and like watch maybe a movie like once a week or something when I can. But with horror movies, I think the last horror movie I watched was like what was it? It's an Australian one. Late Night with the Devil.
Australian. So what are Australian horror movies like? Are they the same as American type horror movies, or are they different?
See, I grew up watching American horror. I never really got into Australian horror till like maybe in my mid-20s or something like that. I say they're about even, but I kind of think sometimes the Americans go a little step further with their stuff.
Oh, okay.
And shit like that. But should definitely go and check out Late Night with the Devil. It's on Shudder, like in the American streaming Shudder. It's sort of like It's sort of like The Conjuring mix The Exorcist.
Okay, I'm writing it down so I don't forget.
There's that, and Talk to Me is another great Australian horror movie.
Talk to Me. I'm gonna try and check these out.
Yeah, man. And Wolf Creek.
I haven't seen Wolf Creek, but I've seen it, when I'm scrolling through movies.
Yeah, that's like
a good
based
one?
on the. Yeah. The first one was. I haven't really watched the second one, but there was a TV series. A TV series based on that movie, played by the same killer from the movie.
Okay. I think with the Saw movies, they started getting pretty brutal. I thought.
Have you seen the new one?
No.
Saw X.
That
has to be like one of that has to be like one of my favorite ones out of like maybe since like the first two.
Huh.
The only reason why I say because it was like a prequel and sequel to the first one.
Okay.
It tells you the story on how John Kramer became Jigsaw.
Oh, okay. That might be interesting.
Yeah, because like it took me a while to figure this out because like Jigsaw isn't really a bad person. He just likes punishing bad people. And if you watch Saw X, you'll see why he did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I might have to check that out as well.
Yeah. So you got some homework to do, my friend.
I do. I'll follow up with you. I'll write a report and send it to you.
Yeah, man. But I did. By the way, I did check out your friend's band too. The one that you said that came to Australia.
Oh, the Midnight Devils.
Yeah, they're actually pretty cool.
Yeah. They're a good group of guys. When they came through Myrtle Beach, I got up there and sat in on a song with them, and that was a good time.
Nice. Yeah. So I just followed them like on Spotify and stuff like that. So
cool.
It's good shit. But before we finish up, what are your top 5 bass players?
That's a good one. I like well, I mean, I would probably have to say Nikki Sixx would be in there, even though people say he's not playing bass. So who knows if he is? I don't know. But back in the day, he was one of my guys. Gene Simmons was one of my guys. I probably liked Rachel Bolan. Probably had a little bit of influence on me.
Yep.
I'll give you 4. How's that? John Taylor from Duran Duran I like a lot too. Yeah,
nice. That's a solid top 5.
Yeah.
Does it change when people ask you that sometimes?
No, not really. I mean, because those guys really laid the foundation of my style, I guess. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great bass players out there, but those 4 guys, when I was younger, just learning bass were my foundation.
Yeah. No, awesome. See, I actually want to learn bass.
It's much better than guitar.
It's only 4 strings.
It's only 4 strings.
Well, isn't it like an 8-string bass out there now?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, isn't it the guy from Dream Theater had like an 8-string bass or some shit?
That's not bass anymore.
A real bass is 4 strings.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you. Where could people find you? Everywhere on the web? Because I know you got a website and I know you're on YouTube. So Facebook and Instagram is where they can find you?
Yep. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I think it's all at R&R Coffee Show.
Yeah.
And then on the web online at rnrcoffeeshow.com. They can find me.
Sweet as. And you can buy merch as well. So
yeah, I got coffee mugs like this. I've got hot sauce. You like hot sauce?
I saw that.
I got hot sauce. Got shirts, coffee, got my own coffee, all kinds of things.
Yeah, I wanted to buy like a t-shirt and a mug just to support you, but they wouldn't let me ship to Australia for some reason.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's probably,
Yeah.
it's probably so expensive. If we cross paths ever, I'll get you some stuff. You
Yeah,
ever
for
come over to the
sure.
States?
I would love to come over the States. I've never been.
Oh, okay.
Because
I've
ever
never
since
been.
you've never been to Australia?
No.
Would you like to come to Australia?
Of course. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I reckon you'll love it down here.
Might be a little scared though. I hear the spiders are
No,
big.
don't believe that shit, dude.
I'm kidding.
It's like my mate was saying. Is it true that that kangaroos beat the shit out of you? I'm like, no. Oh, if you approach them.
Yeah. There's some big ass kangaroos though that I see in pictures.
Yes.
Look
Yeah.
like they're lifting weights.
Dude, yeah, especially the ones that especially the one that was did you ever see that video of that kangaroo headlocking the dog?
No, I don't think so. I saw one of him trying to drown a dog.
Oh shit.
He was trying to drown a dog, and the guy with the camera was coming over to try and save his dog, and then the kangaroo started attacking the guy.
Holy crap. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, there was a video a few years ago of a kangaroo had this guy's dog in a headlock. And and shit. And so it just had him like around like this. And then the guy just came up and just one punch to the face of the kangaroo, let the dog go, and it was stunned.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
If I find a video, I'll send it to you on Instagram or something like that. But
yeah, that's crazy.
It's
got some wild animals out there.
Oh, they're not too bad, man. You just have to be at the. You just have to be in the good place. Just yeah. Stay away in the wild. But Joe, thank you very much, my man. It's nice to finally meet you.
Yes.
Thank you for your support. Before we finish up, do you have any upcoming guests?
I do. I mean, I'm booked up through probably September. I try to stay booked up a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm booked up. I don't like to really announce who's coming on because things change all the time.
Sure. So, yeah, I've learned that too. So I stopped doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, I try to do at least one a week. I will say that I've got the next month or so, I've got about 2 weeks that I'm double booked. So that's going to be a rough week for me. But so I work 2 jobs and I try and do this and the family at home. This is like a hobby, a fun hobby for me, but it does take time, as you know.
Yes. Yeah. I was doing this once a week. Now I'm just doing it when I can.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what I do. I try to do one a week, but it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah. But as long as you love what you do, that's all that matters, bro.
Yep. As long as you're having fun, just keep doing it. You're doing a good job on yours.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Like, again, like what I said before, like I'm still learning, it's still growing, but I'm having too much fun with it.
Yeah. And it takes time. You'll get there.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, dude, thank you very much. Make sure to go and check his stuff out all in social media. On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. Go and check out his website, his store as well. Pick up some coffee beans if you're into coffee like I am. But guys, I'll see you all next time and be kind to each other. Peace out.